apart in terms of the content from other cinemas. And then we spoke about how we can best communicate those and how we can make them pass through to the audience, and not only specifically to get necessarily more tickets, of course this is the end goal for everything we do, but also to create an online presence and an online identity, hopefully interesting and engaging and nice enough to follow, even for people who are not necessarily coming every day to our, or not even maybe in our city, but to have this awareness that these guys are doing a very good job and it's a cool thing to watch, and maybe if I get to that city I will go and visit them. What we will do now, today, and Caro will be leading that, is to try and understand more about who our audience is, because maybe we have a sense of it, maybe we know the people's faces already. Several people mentioned that they are very connected to their audience and they know them already, or they smile to them and so on, but we cannot all do that, obviously, and the bigger the cinema, the harder it is to actually know by face and name the people. But we have tools now that can help us do that, and so the two sessions coming today are about how we can use CRM insights and data, and how we can harness it and how we can use it to better understand our audience and to be more effective in our communication and in our programming. And then in the second part, after the coffee break, how can we use AI and how can AI become a useful tool and use it to the best of its capacity. Also, of course, for knowing our audience better, but also for streamlining tasks that are repetitive and take a lot of time, but are not very creative and can be done maybe by robots instead of people. So this is the plan for today.
Okay, thank you. Well, I think that explanation was very clear, so maybe we can also make it even a bit more clearer by doing a poll. So you can raise your hand if you think you know the people in your cinema, like who they are, where they're from, what kind of, yeah, so I hope most of you.
Half a hand?
Okay, no, that's very fair. And who can keep their hand up if then I ask, like, okay, and is this verified by checking the data? And I'll be generous and be like, in the last 3 years. Okay, so there's still some hands up, so very great, but not all of you. That's not an issue per se, but it can help you, of course. So without really expounding a lot more on it, we'll just get into it, how you can do it. Actually, a lot of cinemas already have a lot of data because we have a website usually, as we saw yesterday. We sell tickets often online. Usually there needs to be some personal information put in to buy a ticket, so you have that. But then what about the people who just buy at the counter and are completely anonymous? So there's ways to get information out of the ticket system, of course, but sometimes you need to create your own data. I'm going to show an example of how we did that. We did that by doing it very old school, but sometimes that's the only way. We did an audience survey. Yeah, so let's start with that maybe.
Maybe.
Where do I have to point it though?
No, they have to do something.
Okay.
It's not your fault.
Okay. Yeah, so we conducted quite a large audience survey, and I'm going to explain how you can use these results to then determine what your next strategy will be, and how this type of, setting up a survey like this is really like going into dialogue with all of your audience without being there to talk to everyone, like every person separately. So, context, we did an audience survey from the 1st of March until the 25th of March in 2025. So, yeah, like a year ago, basically. And we did it 25 consecutive days for all our screenings. So in this 25 days we had almost 9,000 visitors, and the questionnaires we received back were like 3,600. So it's actually quite a high percentage if you compare it to maybe online forms you did, because I will explain you how we did it. So this is a sheet that we handed out. There were of course a lot of reasons why we really wanted to do it on paper. First, to like again, an older audience, we don't want to push a QR code in their faces and to be immediately like, no, we didn't want to send in an email because who clicks in the email, we really wanted everyone who entered the door to ask them and hand them a copy. Also, logistically, we don't have any connection to 4G in our screening rooms because we're in -1. So it wouldn't even be possible unless we would give them first a Wi-Fi password to them. So it wouldn't make any sense for us to do it online. So we did it really old school, handing everyone a paper. We asked for 3 types of information. So first we wanted to create a visitor's profile. So we asked the generic information like your date of birth, etc. But I'll get into that a bit later. But we wanted to know who is sitting in our screening room every day. Then tying a bit into the session of yesterday, we were really thinking about, and still are, about how to tackle our communication strategy because there's not a lot of people and there's a lot of different platforms. So we wanted to find out which ones are the platforms that are important to the ones in our screening room. And we also do, we have a monthly programmation and we have this printed in a booklet, which takes a lot of effort every month to get it finished on time. Print is getting quite expensive. So we also wanted to figure out how important is this booklet to people. And another element is that we actually have 3 different booklets. We have one for every month our general program. Then we have a separate one for our film classics. It's also a little booklet, magazine. It goes like for 6 months, so a full semester. And then we have one for the children's programmation separately as well, which goes for every season. So sometimes these 3 deadlines collide, and then we have to finish 3 programations for and 3 booklets, so with layout and everything, and just 3 people. So we wanted to check, is this actually worth the effort that we are putting into it every time? And then while we're at it, of course, and we do a survey anyway, we also wanted to, of course, know about the satisfaction. Are people satisfied with what we do? So yeah, that's kind of the structure. So very quickly, I'll touch exactly what we asked. So you have you have an ID. So of course, the year of birth to determine the age. Then the official postcode of the person, so not an address, but a postcode. Then we also ask for the postcode of their student housing, because again, Leuven is a student city, so that way we could also figure out how much of our audience is actually a student. If you have like an official postcode address, usually set at a different place in Belgium, but then maybe you live in Leuven during the weeks. Belgium is very common to go home in the weekend, but yeah. Then if what their sex was, languages you understand, and then we gave them an options, like which were the only ones relevant to us. We didn't want to know, of course, if they spoke, let's say, Arabic, but just like, is it Dutch, French, or English? So we can, that could give us insight for the subtitles. And then we asked them themselves, how often did you visit Cinema ZED in the last 30 days? So important to keep in mind that we ask them, and maybe they don't actually know. So so that's why we make more categories instead of letting them write down a specific number. So we asked this the first time in this period. I came like 1 to 2 times, 3 to 5 times, more than 5 times, or which is also important, the first time ever, maybe. So like who in this period was like really in our cinema for the very first time. And then we also asked for their email, because the incentive we gave them was that they could, every day of the 25 days, someone would win a free duo ticket. So there was a little incentive to fill in the survey, but nothing major, so like something nice just. Then so this is tying into what Arturo asked yesterday. We also wanted to figure out again, like, is what we're doing actually working? So we asked our audience which platform brought the film to your attention. Was it our booklet, or one of our booklets? Was it our newsletter, Facebook, Instagram, just general press? A trailer you saw, friends, family, none of the above, and we also gave them the option to write down something else themselves. Which communication platforms of Cinema ZED specifically do you consult? So our website, the semester film classic booklet, Instagram, monthly program, Facebook, children's book, Cinema ZED newsletter. So all the things that we do and put a lot of time in. Then we also wanted to know which ones of the elements of the booklet they use the most, so we can maybe make it smaller if it turns out that they actually don't care, like if they just care about the schedule in the back, we can also make a flyer with the schedule on, so we tried to figure that out as well. And then also we wanted to again test if our marketing is actually working, so we have a few monthly events we host and we wanted to check, are you aware of them? Do you know these are happening? So these are some of our events. We actually put in a one that we don't do, but then to like test them. And a lot of people thought we did that, but then and when we finished we were like, but it's quite a generic thing, so maybe they
thought it was just
they thought it was just a movie in the morning, which we thought we do on Sunday, so maybe they were like, oh yeah, I know about that. So our test wasn't that efficient. So yeah, trial and error. And then of course about the satisfaction. This one we asked to rate them on a scale, which we already provided to them. So are you very discontent, neutral content, or very content about these elements? Comfort, customer service, image and sound, and the film program. And then, what are your reasons to come to Cinema ZED? And they could check multiple ones, of course, if they wanted to. Price, the program, so the things that are identify us. No food and drinks allowed, no break. The presence of a restaurant or bar, extra content, no assigned seating or something else. And then the final question, and also a very important one, so if you ever do a survey, always do this, leave some open space for anything to write down, and we finished with that, so we just asked if you have any suggestions or feedback or anything you want to say, and it was completely open lines, so they could write whatever, basically. So again, logistically, how did it work? It was the projectionist handing out the copy of the survey to everyone who walked in. There were pens available as well. We dropped one trailer, and instead we showed a visual that would state, like, we're conducting an audience survey from the 1st to 25th of March. You have now 2 minutes of time to fill it in. That's it. And then we made a collection box at the end when they walked out that they could drop the survey in. And the projectionist would collect those, put them in an envelope, and start transcribing them in a beautiful Excel, together with the ticketing staff who did then the other screening room. We have 2 screening rooms. They did each did one of them, and then we have a different location where we had to do the whole same thing. But it was also the projectionist writing everything in the Excel. So what is your to-dos? When you have to do something like that, we have to make a survey. We did it in 2 languages, so Dutch and English, so you could also hand out an English copy. You have to make a guide for all the staff, so they know what to do. So for us, that's 10 plus people in 2 separate locations. Each and every one has to be informed what you're doing, otherwise it will get messy real quick. You have to make an Excel sheet for everyone to fill in the data, and this has to be, you have to make it that is the fastest to fill in for the people doing it. Because if you just have a screening of 70 people, they only have like, yes?
Would you share the Excel sheet with us?
No. But I'll present the results, but maybe after, but we're still, well, I'll get there by the way. Yeah, so you have to make the Excel, and it has to be very fast for them to fill in, because yeah, it has to go quickly. Make collection boxes, and it's very important that we didn't get behind, so like all the data of the day, because we have 8 to 10 screenings a day, they have to be put in basically that day or the latest the day after, otherwise it will become a huge pile of surveys, so we had to make everything efficient and fill it in and keep everyone motivated to keep doing that. And of course, in the meanwhile, continue being a cinema, because it was in March. We wanted to do it in quite a, yes?
How did you keep everyone motivated?
Can you maybe keep the questions? Because if we keep doing this, it's not working.
Yeah, I'll get to, there's questions in the end. Okay. Ta-da! This is the Excel sheet, so I hope you want to give a little trigger warning maybe. Yes, and it has, so because we had 3,600 responses, each line is all the information of one respondent, so imagine this, 3,600 lines. So just to give you an idea, this is what we're working with. Here in the end you can see all the open comments, so a lot of people write something, an open suggestion, and these are just ticks. Okay. Go maybe a bit faster. Okay, these are the results, for example, of the first day. So here you can see the amount of tickets that were scanned, and here you can see the amount of surveys that were handed back in. So at the first day, the results, like here for example, for September 5, almost 80% of our audience filled in the survey. If you see these lower numbers, that's like kids films, for example. The 8-bit Prince is Dutch, but it's a kids film, so it makes sense that the response rate is lower. We did ask the parents to fill it in for their kids, but if you come with 2 kids, of course, you don't do it, so it makes sense. So these were, for example, the response rates on the very first day. We go to the last day, so the 25th, then you can see it's a lot lower, of course, which also makes sense because if you came at 2:30 to La Cucina, the chances of you having been there before in those 25 days are quite high, right? You were a fan of us, otherwise you wouldn't be in this screening. And then you see, for example, they're way higher when you look at other films that came out. Like, for example, The Brutalist, even after 25 days, it still had a 50% response rate because probably it's still a lot of people who haven't been there before, so it all makes sense. So we achieved a response rate of 41%, which is actually even higher if you know that people return. So it's more individuals actually, and also kids were included in the number of visitors, but they of course don't each fill in a survey. Anyway, that's it. Problem! We had too much data and too little time. So okay, after 25 days we had this beautiful Excel. Next day our biggest film festival of the year starts. So we're all occupied with doing other stuff and we're like, okay, let's analyze this later. There's other stuff to do. After the film festival, the summer comes, a lot of people are out of office, and basically this whole thing stays shelved for a while. We just didn't have the time to do anything with it. So our goal, what we had, and still have to make time, meaning we analyze all this, and we wanted to do it quantitatively and qualitatively. So quantitatively the numbers, qualitatively the open remarks, like what did they have to say. I'll talk about this tomorrow, but we used the format of the training bootcamp on data to start doing this. It was a very nice framework in which we could actually finally get started on doing this, but more about the practicalities of that tomorrow. So, what we've already done by now, and I will just give you summaries, is to qualitative analysis so of all the open comments. Yeah, I'm not a fan of ChatGPT. Also, this was before the whole MAGA thing. I'm sorry, I knew about it. So we used ChatGPT and Claude to analyze what the people had to say. All these comments in the last thing. AI is a really good tool for that. You have a lot of comments and you want to, you can read through all of them. It's difficult for yourself to weigh how much importance they have. So you can use, AI to do that for you and give you a nice summary of those open comments. I could also recommend Le Champ Mistral. It's a new AI, it's French I think, so if you wanted to be a bit more analytical, then there's other platforms, ChatGPT and Claude. But actually the results were kind of boring because it just said, keep up the good work, great film program, best cinema. Yay, so finished, we're done. We're doing everything perfectly, that's nice. So they liked our program, they liked the fact that there were no breaks, friendly staff, fair prices, so yeah, great, we can just stop the research. No, there were also, of course, some critiques or remarks that came up, like they wanted even more classes, like classics and retrospectives. More English subtitles came up a lot from the expat community in Leuven. Again, university city, a lot of non-Dutch speakers working there. Keep films on the program for longer came up, and suggestions for more convenient time slots. Well, we only have 3 screening rooms and a lot of films, so it's difficult to put your favorite film at 8 o'clock every single day, as you all know. But these were the ones that came up. So the first 2 we immediately put in action. I can already say that we program now more classics and retrospectives, and we try to find a copy with English subtitles of every non-English film. So we try to do that at least once now, and it's working really well. And it's really because of this survey that we saw really quickly, oh, there's actually quite a big demand for these English subtitles. Let's just do it. So it did take 1 day of work actually to figure that out. The quantitative analysis. So we are lucky enough that we have a viewer for one of our festivals who is a data specialist. So he's helping us. So we couldn't afford one at all, but it's just in your network. Luckily, there was someone for us who could help us, and but it's still ongoing. This is something we try to do, of course, in the back of running a cinema. So it's not that we're dealing with this every single day. It's like when we have time, let's let the survey once more to find something out. This is also not to trigger you, but this is how it looks like in the back of what we're now researching. But I try to visually present it a bit nicer for you, so you can see. So I'll just touch on the highlights, which I think are most interesting. So now, after conducting the survey, we know that the survey respondents per age group, this is like kind of what the age groups in our cinema look like. And it's not that bad, I would say. Like okay, of course, this is high, but if you add up all of these, it's still fairly balanced. It doesn't go like this. It's quite fair. Also, of course, the children and the teenagers, again, like they didn't fill in the survey. So it's also maybe 60 to 70-year-olds are nicer and like to fill in a survey more than
more time.
yeah. So maybe it's like that. And there's also, of course, always the NAs non-answered. So there's also people who never they didn't check the box. Then how frequent of visiting? So most people were they visit like once every 30 days. That means because it's the first time they visited in 30 days. Still a significant, quite a big amount comes 1 to twice then every 30 days. And actually these segments are both very interesting because we're talking about 3,600 people. 5% is still representing quite a lot of people in 25 days. And also, what was also very interesting to us was the first ever, like 4% it was 250 people. This is your first time ever coming. It's 250 people in 25 days. That means like 10 new people who've never been at our cinema before every day. That's quite a lot. And to answer also, I checked for Arturo, I checked which means of communication brought them to the cinema, which I asked, I checked for this specific segment, which platform brought you here. It's not that weird, but half of them said family and friends. So that's the half of 250 people, but also 10% said Instagram, for example. So if you see that the number says 10 new people every day, one of those 10 is there because of Instagram. So it doesn't look much, but it's one new person every day. So if next time they bring someone, it's actually quite a lot. So I would say the social medias actually are effective. For Facebook it was a bit lower, but I was pleasantly surprised myself with the Instagram. It's okay, it is working, so I am putting time and effort into it, and it's having results. And maybe also interesting for the 5 times or more, it was more of our own booklet. So the heavy visitors, they are really into our booklet or magazine. So for them, the magazine then is really important, which wasn't important at all if you come for the first time, which makes sense, you had never seen it before. Okay, then here is the results of then which platform brought the film to your attention. It's not percentage-wise because people could check multiple boxes, so it wouldn't make sense. But for the whole audience, our booklet is actually the most important one. Second, friends and family, just word of mouth, which also makes sense. Press coverage, so it's something that's completely out of our hands, is actually also still very important. And this one also very interesting. Other is super high because we forgot to put our own website in the list. So a lot of people checked other and then wrote down your website. So you live and you learn. Our emails do reach 290 people, check them as being the reason why they're there. Or Instagram for 250, Facebook only half of that. So you can see for us Instagram is more important than Facebook. And then some people who didn't check any of the boxes. Yes, and then specifically about our own communication platforms, and then we did include the website, which shows. So our website is just, of course, the most important part. Again, 3,600 responses. basically almost everyone who uses the website. The monthly program still very important. And then for us, which this also makes sense because again the children didn't respond, so it's quite low. But so the separate programs, maybe I should also point out that we do include these also monthly then in the monthly program. So we are considering actually of making these booklets maybe into flyers. Because yeah, you can see the importance isn't that high. Newsletter, Instagram, Facebook. Okay. Then, so remember the scale that we asked about comfort, customer friendliness, to put like a circle how content they were. Everything is ranging somewhere in between content and very content. So we also now know if people are actually satisfied with what we have to offer. And actually, it will be probably a bit higher because we noticed a lot of people circled very discontent on everything, and then in the comments they said, perfect, you know, they read the scale from the wrong side, you know. So actually, but we didn't, of course we don't know if that's actually the case, so we went with that they actually circled this. So actually this should be all a bit higher still, because there were quite a lot from the opposite side. That didn't make sense actually. And then, what is the reason you come to Cinema ZED? Luckily, our film program is number one. That makes sense. So yeah, people like what the program we offer. Then, for us, a reason to keep on going with the no food or drinks in the theater. It's our audience really values that a lot. The price is also something when people come to us. No break is appreciated, and then it goes kind of into less and less appreciation. But also something interesting to point out, the extra content was then usually the ones who said that they would come 3 or 5 times or more. So for the heavy visitors, almost all these people are people who claim that they come 3 to 5 times or more to a cinema. So again, actually someone who comes 5 times a month is equally as important as 5 people who come once a month, you know? So you always want to spoil the guys who are heavy users. So that's that. Yeah, so like I said, we made immediate strategic changes after the survey. We do more classics, we do more English subtitles. Because the website is so important to almost everyone, we also now focus more on that. We installed Microsoft Clarity on our website, very easy. And then now we have heat maps of everything people click on, so we have more insights in what people actually do on our website, since we've learned that the website is actually so important. We also changed some buttons already, so we are really using the strategy, the survey results to make actual changes in our cinema, and we'll quite soon make a decision on what we'll do with the communication strategy. Because like I said yesterday with the Instagram, I'm giving myself time for like trial and error. I'm not doing that with booklets. Like I can't just be like, we'll just skip it this month and then next month we'll try a flyer. No, I want to make a thought-through decision on things like that. So we're still waiting a little bit more to figure out a bit more of the details, but once we have, we can maybe decide to make them smaller or something. Yeah, that's what I said right now. So we need to reflect and look into it a bit more heavy. So a survey conducted on paper is very labor intense, but it's worth it for us so far. If because it's really like a dialogue with your audience, and already very quickly you learn quite a lot actually. And you I'm really not I know I said we work together with a data expert, but you can also like it's not as hard as it looks, but it's very, if you're up for the work in a way. Like if you know it will be a bit of figuring stuff out in Excel, but yeah, you learn a lot from it. So I would recommend it if you could do it. But yeah, that's up to you guys, of course. So I think that was it. So questions you can ask me after the other presentations. I'm gonna check the time.
20 past.
Okay, so we have 40 more minutes and 3 more presentations. So I'm going to ask everyone to keep it to, I know I didn't do it myself, so that's a bit. But to stick to 10 minutes. And then let's start with Magdalena again. And then afterwards we have Flora, and we'll end with RITCS. Okay? So you can come up. Okay.
I have a tendency to talking a lot, so I need a paper to do it briefly. So today I want to show you how data about our most loyal audience helps us build a new audience with maintaining deep respect for our seniors. I'll be honest, I didn't choose this title of this session because our data isn't professional quantitative. It's qualitative. I teach event management at University of Wrocław, and that's why we are in progress with our students to make the service. So that's why thank you. So so I could teach from you. For now, we rely on the most powerful data of all: human interaction, conversation, and also service, but in context to our teachers' film clubs, because we have a range and diversity of activities for education. And Tuesdays are our club Tuesdays. We have a senior film club at 12, discussion film club at 6, and 1 month in Tuesday we have a teachers' film club, because the teacher bring us the group of children to our cinema. So let's start to context. We operate in a large city surrounded by multiplexes, and our advantage isn't for the effects, it's relationships and history. We are the oldest cinema in the city. DCF started in 1945, right after World War II, but it was built on the foundations of German Palace Theater, because we are old. So we have a natural, organic understanding of older audiences. Population in Wrocław, it's about 600 of people. Only 2 art houses, cinemas are in the Wrocław. Kino Nowe Horyzonty, maybe you should know, because New Horizons, International New Horizons Film Festival, and our cinema, DCF cinema. And market insights showed us clearly, sorry,
8 minutes.
There is already a place in Wrocław for ex-cathedra film education, which was a different path. Instead of a lecture, we offer an experience. We don't compete on definitions, but where is our market niche? While New Horizons cinema has claimed the academic, intellectual discourse, DCF strategically focuses on art house experience and lifestyle. We don't fight for the same client using the same methods, because it would be stupid. We diversify the city's cultural landscapes. Data isn't just numbers in an Excel sheet. That habit stuck with me from my time executive producer of the Millennium Dogs Against Gravity Festival. But at DCF, our CRM isn't just a software, it's our presence in the foyer. This is our foyer. And data tells us the seniors need a sense of security, while young people need a sense of community. That's why my team and I are right there with them. We build loyalty that you simply cannot buy with a Facebook ad. And let me take you through a short case study of our 2 lungs, the seniors and the party goers. This is our golden audience, silver generation audience. They are our most loyal group, allowing us to optimize our schedule during hours when other cinemas are empty, because the Tuesdays in the morning at noon. We use insights from service and direct conversation to create a product tailored perfectly to them. This is Gosia Konieczna, curator and moderator of Film Senior Club.
Grazie Michele, grazie, veramente grazie.
Thank you.
5 minutes to left.
Really thank you.
Because of their habits, our halls generate revenue when they would otherwise be silent. This is a pure margin for us, which allows us to fund our ambitious mission in the evenings. And our SRM system is about introduction and care. Seniors come for the conversation. They need a live introduction. For example, Gosia's introduction before every screening. And this trust allows them to return even for difficult repertoire because they trust us. They trust her. This is our hero because she is very patient to the senior. Senior is a specific group, as you know. We don't create content for them. We create it with them. Our qualitative data interviews taught us 3 key things. First of all, routine is sacred for seniors. Same day, same time, period. We try not to make exceptions. We don't even cancel the club during summer holidays. After all, not everyone goes away or looks after grandkids at the same time. That's why we continue film senior club in the June, July and August. This builds a habit that stabilizes our margin year-round. The second key is experience beauty and travel. There is no such thing as a movie for seniors. The theme of sad old age actually repels them. They don't want to watch films where the protagonist is just another struggling elderly person. They want to experience, really, they want to experience beauty and travel to the world's great galleries. They love art, biographies, and art on screen docs. They also happy seats promotions because in several seats we have our gift packs, so that's why they are so happy to choose the seat with our gift packs. And the second thing is comfort and accessibility. Eyesight can be tricky, and whenever possible we choose films with a voice-over, not lecture but voice-over in Poland is more popular, or Polish films where they don't have to struggle with fast-moving subtitles. We also provide audio description upon request. It's about making the experience effortless. And the second case study is the art of the party. This is our art house with a twist strategy. Our programming model is based on eventization, but in the good understanding this word. We take art house gems and classic and dust off the academic code. We look at what people love in pop culture and merge it with a quality art house cinematography. And this is a case of screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the Halloween party. This is a case, a screening of the Great Gatsby and the Great 20s style party in DCF. And I couldn't imagine how beautiful costumes our visitors have, and this is a happiness for them to take off elegant dress and go to our cinema. And this is a party after Great Gatsby. This is a screening of Casablanca in the black and white ball. And this is a screening of the Big Lebowski and theme party. And we have people with, I don't know how to say English. Yeah, but we have also Big Lebowski.
Oh, wow.
And there are insight-driven events, our insight-driven events. The ticket sales speak for themselves. People crave community and immersion. The cinema stops being just a screen and becomes an event space. And events build a higher margin because the ticket price is also higher, because they buy a ticket for screening, for a drink, and for some food. And people are much more willing to pay for an experience than just a screening. And this is our strategy that the people who are on our newsletter, they know first when the sales is starting. So it's a communication for our audience. Being in our newsletter, it's your exclusive information when and where will be another party in our cinema. So, to wrap up, our data tells us that the audience wants to feel at home at DCF. That's why, that's why I couldn't imagine cinema without drinks, because we have also, like Amanda said yesterday, we have a hall, living rooms. We want to people come before screening and after screening and drink, for example, seniors hot chocolate. It's their routine. Hot chocolate before screening or hot chocolate after screening, and talking about the movies. So we create atmosphere in the cinema like living room, and you can come with your friends, because seniors are coming collectively for the screenings. So yeah, audience wants to feel at home at the cinema, whether it's over morning coffee at the senior club or a wild 20s style ball. We are a cinema of relationship, not just projections, and these events naturally become intergenerational. Seniors and partygoers starts to overlap, and balancing mission and margin is possible only when you stop treating the viewer as a statistic and start treating them a partner in a dialogue. Thank you.
Well, thank you for another wonderful presentation. So we've now had data that you can create yourself by doing a survey, qualitative data, and now we're going to take a look at the data that some subscription models maybe can help you and provide you with. So I'll give the floor to Flora from RITCS Brussels, who joined the Cineville network in Belgium and has something to say about that as well. Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So I think compared to most of you, I come from a really small cinema. We only have one screen. We only have 3 to 4 screenings per week, always in the evening. And I think probably also one of the youngest audiences. Especially, it was funny that in the last presentation we talked about how to appeal to seniors, because they make up like such a tiny percentage of our audience. So let's look a bit at Cinema RITCS and the specific challenges we have and how we address them using data that we also got from our subscription service, which is Cineville Belgium. All right. Yes, I got it. So about our cinema, I put a few keywords. So we are located in the basement of the art school RITCS, which is the Royal Institute for Theatre, Cinema and Sound. English name, but the school is Flemish, so everything is in Dutch. So yes, during the day our cinema is a classroom, which means I'm also not allowed to have any permanent additions to the facade or anything. So I have to move and set up the cinema every night, or I make my students do it. In 2022 I joined as a student to help run the cinema, and eventually became the coordinator and programmer. In 2022 it was doing quite badly. This was also partially due to COVID, but I also started implementing some changes to make our visitor count go up. So let's see, this is the general types of screenings we do. So, Belgian film, I put a picture of Woudstra in the Haven, which we've shown, I lost count how many times, because my co-programmer loves it. It's a very classic Belgian film. Belgian film, we have a mission to promote historic Belgian films and new Belgian films. The turnout for these is usually mixed. If the students are mandated to come, it will be a high turnout. If the students are not mandated to come, sometimes the turnout can be quite low. But the costs for booking those screenings can be high, so you see the risk involved in it. The same goes for film education, although sometimes, yeah, I put a picture of Pier Paolo Pasolini, because also my co-programmer loves Pasolini, he loves Italian cinema. Sometimes we do get popular screenings in the film education category, but also the risks are the same: high costs, possibly low turnouts. Then we have cult film. I put a picture of Troll 2. If you recognize Troll 2, then bonus points. Really fun movie. We have collaborations with Cult Film Festival in Brussels to do at least one cult screening per month. The audience for those is really funny. Comes from all over Brussels, tends to be older, tends to be male, but sometimes we also do Gen Z cults like Twilight. Then we have the Cine Club. So at RITCS there is a club of students that decides a list of movies every month, and I used to be part of it as a student. Now I'm not part of it. I let them send the list to me, and then I program the movies that I think are gonna work well. We have the general art house category, which is kind of a new category I started experimenting with the past 2 years, more about that later. And then we have external collaborations. The external collaborations, I put a picture of the Dupes Al Maktoum, classic Egyptian movie. We work, for example, with universities in Brussels and art platforms in Brussels, and these are the screenings I worry about the least because they always bring in a huge external audience because they're promoted externally. So, some numbers. So, this is when I joined. No, but of course this year was still like post-COVID, so there were some other problems associated with this year. We do see like a huge rise in this season. I think it was, I started in Instagram, I started a promotion strategy. I also looked into programming to see what films were successful. But still the number, it went up to 5,000, which was really good for us. But the next year, we had even more. We had almost 2,500 people more. So what changed? Well, maybe you can look at this graph as well. This is the amount of visitors per month. You see I left out the 2022-2023 season to focus on the last 3 years. You see the 2023 season, it started good. We had some peaks here in March. And you see that it really starts getting consistently high here. This month was smaller, so we had less programmation. And you see the year after that, the peaks are getting even higher. And the year now, the green, you see we're also having peaks. So what changed in March 2024 that really caused this increase? This also illustrates it quite well. The average amount of visitors, you really see a stark difference between the years. So the answer is the Cineville subscription. Everybody from the Benelux, maybe Germany, Sweden will also know about it. So Cineville is a subscription where you pay 18 to 22 euros per month, and it lets you go to an unlimited amount of cinemas and unlimited amount of films. The way they make money is, of course, it's a subscription model, so they're counting on people to not use it as much. And they told me like some people use it 30 times per month, but the average person goes 2 or 3 times per month, which means it's financially viable. We get 70% of the ticket price for each Cineville ticket that's sold. In our case, this is a huge benefit because our student tickets are only 4 euros, but every student that gets Cineville and uses the Cineville tickets gets 70% of the full price. So we actually make more money this way. But the biggest benefit of Cineville is cross-promotion. I think the next slide will be, yes. So this is their website, and you see how our films are listed in their agenda. So you can put in, I want to see everything that's playing in Brussels tonight. You get a list of all the films, and it tells you that, so this is how a lot of visitors find our cinema, on this like generalized agenda. It's a really nice cross-promotion. I forgot what's on the next slide, it's a surprise for me. Yes, ticket categories. So this is just to illustrate again the point of the ticket pricing. Full price, discount, students free. Yeah, so this is the research that I've got parsed from our own visitor data, which shows that the reduction price is not used so much, the normal price is also not used so much. We have a big free category, which is mostly students that are mandatory attendance for some education screenings. We have a 20% students, and then we have a huge Cineville number. So almost half of our audience comes with Cineville. Compared to other Cineville cinemas in Belgium, this is really high because they told me it's about 20 to maybe 30%. For us it's half, and some screenings we have like 75% Cineville. Okay, so Cineville provides a lot of interesting data. Wait, I should go back a little bit. So, the problem I was facing is we have a lot of education screenings that are high in costs, that are low in turnout, and low also in profits this way. So I was losing a lot of money because of that. And then with the external screenings, with external partners, we were also able to cover the gap. But the problem I saw was that in our audience numbers, I should go back a bit here, they were wildly inconsistent. Some screenings were getting a lot of visitors, other screenings were very low. So it was very high peaks but also very low valleys. So I wanted to find a way to get a consistent audience. And with Cineville, we are getting more visitors per screening, but I wanted to find a way to really bring them in consistently and to cover the high cost of the film education screenings with like consistently well done Cineville screenings. And since we were so popular with Cineville, I was able to use the data of Cineville to look at who is our audience. So here we see our median age, 25, average age 27. We are the youngest cinema in Belgium because of this. Kazakh cinema is 26, we are 25. Yeah. So this was really interesting to see. So this represents half our audience, and it also represents an audience group that brings in a lot of revenue for us and also covers for expensive screenings. So, where are they from? They gave us this little map where you can see all the dots where people put their home residence. The majority comes from Brussels, but there's also a lot of probably students that live in other cities that travel to Brussels for schooling and then use a Cineville pass. I was able to kind of analyze. So Belgium is a bit of a funny country. We have 3 official languages, Dutch, French and German. Dutch and French are like half-half. Brussels is mostly French speaking, but then a lot of the students in Brussels are Dutch speaking, so it's an interesting mix. It was important for me to know what language our audience speaks, because I have to think about what language subtitles do I put on the film. I was able to find out that the majority of our audience is probably Francophone. I kind of parsed this data based on how they spelled the name of their origin city in Cineville. If they put a Dutch name, I put them as Flemish. If they put a French name, I put them as Francophone. There is also unknown, where they either didn't put an origin city or they put it in English. So there is a non-negligible chance that we do actually have a majority Flemish audience, because this number could be anything. But this includes a lot of people who put their origin city as Brussels spelled in the English way. Right. So they could also be expats. In any case, I do see that we have a large Francophone audience, even though we are a Flemish institution. So it made me decide to put, for example, English subtitles on a lot of films, and when the film is in English, I put French subtitles. I almost never put Dutch subtitles. Okay. So we know who they are, and illustrated here you see 2 girls from Brussels. But what do they like? So just to summarize, we know that the Cineville visitors, who make up almost half of our audience, are very young, between 20 and 30. They are majority Francophone, but not all. And they are mostly from Brussels. Okay, what do they like? The next slide is a bit confidential, so this is how I keep data on all of our screenings. So I categorize like all the ticket sales to see how many of each ticket we sell, and then I have here, it turns blue automatically if more than half of the visitors are coming from Cineville. Sometimes it's a bit misleading because, for example, there was here a really bad screening, and most of the people came from Cineville, so then it says, oh, 73% Cineville, but like 15. So, but otherwise it gives you a good idea. For example, I would say this is also a high Cineville screening, even though it didn't reach 50. But 125 people, 45% Cineville, that's a high Cineville screening for me. So this is how I keep track of all of our screenings, and it's a quick way to parse information and see which ones are the most successful with the Cineville audience and with other audiences. So, here's a little summary I wrote. Cineville engages students, broadens our audience, and is financially beneficial. So as I said before, we have a lot of student visitors, of course. When they use the Cineville card, they actually create more revenue for us. Also, for the students from our own school, it takes away this pressure of I have to pay to see a film inside my own school. Because with the Cineville, they can just bleep, and it doesn't feel like they're spending money. The Cineville audience fills the gap, providing relief for lower performing or expensive educational screenings. And then we're able to parse out the identity. I already said all of this. And then, yes, I'm able to determine their tastes as well. So looking at the films that have the highest Cineville percentage, I was able to kind of make a profile, like they like art house that's provocative, but not like too complicated, and it's like mostly from the 2000s to 2010s. They love films like After Sun, they love Climax from Gaspar Noé, they love anything by Wong Kar-wai. Let's see what I put on the next slide. So at the intersection of art house and film education, we find Cinema Roots.
Thank you, Flora, for a wonderful presentation. We'll very quickly go over to the last presentation. So guys, we have a Zoom after the break and we can't move that, so that's why I'm pressuring time. So you can also...
I will be short.
Sorry to pressure you.
I will be very quick. I will, as we are just in the process of rebuilding our website and thinking about these topics, then I brought out 8 lessons from Kino-Sõprus that we are dealing with. It's quite practical, and it involves maybe more also data from the film, the program, and then into the audience. But let's see. And we are just also simple guys, just wanting to show films, but we understand this importance. I'm not the expert, but it's very simple little lessons that maybe you can think about when you have to do the same things. So, lesson number 1, from manual to automatic. So we were facing a problem that we insert the films in our system, we have to manually enter them to the website. Even though there's some systems, it took still minutes to do it, but if you have 2,000 screenings per year, it's minutes per day, but it's hours per year and thousands of viewers. So now with this new website, once we enter it into our system, it's automatically on the website. The films, the screening times, and also all the information about the special events. So it's just, you enter it once and it's there, and it's enormous help for the programmer. Lesson number 2, so from partial information to complete data fields. So here's an example of all the extra data fields we created, and the idea is that when you insert the film once to your system, we also include if it's a young audience film, does it have materials, what the age group is. So you enter it once and you can use it for multiple purposes. And here's an example how it now looks. So basically we have a special catalog for the young audience films. So this is the year, what kind of topics or courses it fits, does it have study materials. So it's, again, you enter it once, but it has different purposes. Another important change was that we went from single screenings to like marketing or presenting event series and special programs. So we didn't have the possibility to really like promote our special screenings in a way, even though they make the most of our audience and people are interested. So now we have this landing page for special programs. We add special information about each program, so you get over like, yeah, what these long-term programs are, so you get to know, and it's also the possibility to actually have many screenings under it. So when you add a new one, it's when you start to basically it supports that you come back and you find the next one that you want to come. But yeah, we didn't have it at all. We only could kind of paste post or like link to just one screening, even though if it was part of the program. So that was a big change in the general way we present the program. From the data, so from unstructured data to trackable information. Here's an example how just the simple basic information about the film is on the website. It was there before as well. It's really very common, and it's there, you can see it, you can read it, but what we learned is that this is how you present it on your website. So this is a simple code. You basically use like a dictionary that every field says something. So this trackable information means that the search engines as well as AI can read it and recommend to people, like, when is the next screening of this film, AI can say in Sõprus at this time. If you don't have this structure, it's not able to read it, even though you might have it on your website. From dull to dynamic metafields, it's also related to basically Google in a way that, so it's in Estonian, sorry, but it's basically like you create a template once you insert the film. So instead of just, if you Google it, you find the cinema website, it can say that, I don't know, Cinema Sõprus, your favorite cinema. But instead it can say that now in the program, the name of the film goes in the brackets, come and see. So every time you again insert a new film, it's relevant information, and you use these templates where you just insert either the event name or the film name, so it's when people search for it, they can already understand what's the essence. Lesson number 6, so from not sure to GDPR compliant, and we opted to use actually a software called Cookies. So instead of developing your own consent platform and these agreements, it's a small monthly fee, but it basically updates according to the new rules and everything. So it kind of gathers it. I think it's like 25 per month. But we decided that in this way we can always be sure that the compliance is there and we don't have to worry about it. From chaotic to measurable. So this is Google Tag Manager. This is empty at the moment, but this is where we started from, and like Tag Manager. So I think you know what Analytics is. You can check who is coming to your website, and we all do that. But this is the place where you can actually set up and track these events that are important for you, like how many special programs or whatever. So use Tag Manager to set up events that you care about, because this is the input that finally goes into analytics and you can understand. And this is basically ends with the ticket sale. And one important thing as well, we found out that even though it was our website, the ticket sales kind of left. It was completed on another platform. It was integrated in our website, but this meant that we didn't track the final purchase. Mm-hmm. So now we changed this as well, that it's on our URL. We can really understand where it ends. And lastly, lesson number 8, this is the most still ongoing process, but from anonymous to identifiable. And just an example of this is the checkout of the ticket. And here is a little box for the loyal members who have the loyalty card. So this is when you enter your card number to get the discount of your membership. Then this is the moment where we can actually understand who's the person, what films they like. So this involves only the members, but this is the point we start. When you just check out, you have no idea. And that's it. A short presentation, please, no question. It's an ongoing process. So, but I use this moment and when we talk that if you have any recommendations, because we are really in the middle of it, so I will use this Q&A for recommendations instead.
No, it was a lovely presentation because I am a bit of a nerd for HTML and structure, so I really liked seeing this because that's also one of the main takeaways. I think also from my presentation, everyone's website is probably its most important platform where people will come and where you share your information and where you sell your tickets. So once you get that structure right, it's very, very valuable. And we, as in culture, we oftentimes think, oh, I'm not a programmer, like a programmer for films, but not like a coding expert. But now also with the AI tools, it can, which is leading up to the next presentation, changing in HTML is actually not as hard as you think it is. And you can figure a lot of stuff out on yourself, actually more than you think. So really think about structure, your website and your ticket system, what connects them and what connects all the information, and will really, really, like you said, save you up a lot of time that you can, for example, put into more fun stuff like making TikToks if that's what you like, for example. So really try to, the things that you don't like to do, like making the same film information in 3 different, like on your website and on your booklet, and 3 different, like spare time doing repeating tasks. And you can really do that by structuring HTML and everything. So, but it takes some time to think about. Anyway, I think I want to ask everyone back to the front because we are going to do still a quick Q&A because I guess there will be some questions left. So maybe feel free to start already. Are there any questions? Yeah.
My first question was like how everyone, it's a question to everyone, but like how do you cater to your existing audience? And I feel like it's mainly old people for all of us, not Flora, but
Except Flora.
yeah. While still trying to reach a younger audience, because we have a lot of old people, but we want to get more young people. But then, how do you do it without losing your old audience? If that makes sense.
I think we'll have different responses to it because actually Magdalena talked about how it's getting more mixed, right?
Yeah.
But I would actually recommend to keep it all. I would actually to keep it separate in a way, like the morning screenings with cake and coffee. It's no, you don't have to problematize it if there's no students there. It's not an event for them. So make events that students will come to, like the type of film you screen. Maybe another evangelization around it. So it is very hard to blend those two together. So that's why I would actually recommend doing it separately. Other comments on that? And you can come to the front, Magdalena and Flora, if you want. But no. Fair enough.
In our case, it's also about synergy. One thing I really forgot to mention with Cineville as a subscription model. So we had a problem that nobody knew our cinema. People were not aware of it. So a lot of students thought it was only for students, and other people also assumed like, oh, it's in the school, can you freely enter the school, etc. So for us it was like, we had to get the people to understand that we were an independent cinema, not necessarily only connected to the school and you could visit. And then with Cineville we also created a synergy with other cinemas that were really close to us. So we kind of started sharing our audiences, and because of this our students were also going to their cinemas more. So we also kind of made their audience a bit younger, which was very funny. There was one other thing I wanted to mention about this. I forgot. Oh, it will come back to me. Yeah.
You have another question?
Yes. It's about Cineville, and because I used to work at a cinema that was connected to Cineville, and we found that those people, first of all, we get less money from the Cineville
Same
users.
for us, for example.
Yeah, and then those people wouldn't buy anything like any concessions either, because our first idea was like, oh, let's join Cineville, because if we get them through the door, they will then buy a glass of wine, or but they just didn't, so it wasn't really as beneficial as we thought. And I know like not everyone sells concessions, so I guess that's not a problem then, but like how is the way, like how do you weigh it, like is it worth it? And then also, do you have to have all of your screenings on Cineville, or if you join Cineville, can you choose if you only want to be certain screenings for Cineville?
So in our case it was obviously worth it because we almost doubled our audience.
Yes.
But I see what you mean, because one of the biggest drawbacks of Cineville is that you have to kind of unify all your films, because it has to be listed on their website in a way that's very simple to understand. So for example, you lose the kind of specialty of like, oh, this is a screening plus aftertalk, Q&A, masterclass. Like those kind of informations are kind of erased. So for example, we have situations where we announce like a masterclass in front of the film, and the Cineville people arrive later because they only come for the film. And I do this because if I put the masterclass time on Cineville, then they will show up and be like, oh, why is there a masterclass? Because yeah, they don't check our website, they just read the Cineville agenda. For us, we put everything on Cineville because we are really reliant on the Cineville numbers to boost our audience.
You can choose not to.
You can choose,
I don't know.
no.
You can exclude festivals
yeah.
when it's a clear distinction, or when it's a separate screening room. Like sometimes we use the aula of the, or the, what do you call it, the auditorium of the university, and then you could exclude. But if you engage to being a Cineville member, you open up all your screenings to them, except maybe a festival. You are allowed to say not for the festival.
But I have to
and
be
for
honest,
us, we have to be critical of it,
yes.
because we're the only art house cinema in Leuven, and it's this live stream. It's like we are not very 100% content with joining, because you also pay a lot to enter, and so far for us it looks like it's actually coming from our own loyalty schemes we had, which we had more money per person. It's a bit of the chicken or the egg story, because we also don't promote Cineville a lot because we have our own loyalty subscription. So the response we get back is, yeah, but Cineville's not very visible in your cinema, and we're like, yeah, that's also true. So, but we're not stepping out at all, and I love the, like you said, the cross marketing stuff that they do. That's fun, and it can hopefully bring in newer people. But for us, it's not this success story. So if you consider it for your cinema, think of it if it will be worth it.
If we were in a city like Leuven and we were the only cinema, it would also not be as successful. But for us, because we were in a really like walkable circle of 5 other cinemas, and also for me personally, I campaigned really hard to make our existing audience join Cineville, because what I heard from our audience was, yeah, I like coming to the cinema, but 3 times a week I have to pay a ticket and it becomes too much. And now that they have Cineville, they come 3 or 4 times per week. They don't care anymore, because now they don't feel like they're spending money. So I campaigned really hard for our students to join Cineville, and then also go to our competitors, because I saw the possibilities for cross-promotion. And based on our audience data, I can see that most of our Cineville visitors are in the student age, so I feel like it was really successful. Yeah. And then we have like a student cafe where they can also get a cheap beer with a discount and stuff, so yeah.
A few more, like 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll have a break.
Can I go?
Yeah.
It was the question that I think you wanted to ask during. How did you motivate your projectionists to fill in that Excel? Because for me it seems
for us, I know the stereotype of projectionists of like people who've been there for like ages and are smoking and grumpy. Well, we just have students and they're young and they're motivated, so that's great. We have like a WhatsApp group in which we make jokes and fun, because people wrote also very funny stuff in the open comments. We're like, thanks for the suggestion. You know, like screen more of than the most commercial flat movie you've ever heard about in Belgium. Like FC Kampioenen, by the way. And we're like, yeah, sure. So like funny stuff, and also the pictures I showed yesterday of Show Your Staff, like these thank you dinners, they were for filling all this in. We bought cakes and drinks, and we so it was. And we actually had fun doing it because of the comments. They were funny, and we are curious to know what people have to say, because it's about us, you know. So keeping them motivated wasn't that difficult for us. Yeah. Maybe anyone else have a question? Yes.
I was wondering, do you have any online data from just online tickets? Did you compare it, and is it completely different or a lot different?
Not yet. We do have a lot of data because we have quite an elaborate ticket system. Ticket Matic is also in the Netherlands, I think, and in Belgium, but we haven't compared them, no, which is something that in the next phase, when we have some time in the background, we are definitely willing to do to look at the data and compare the two.
I just realized I forgot something quite vital about Cineville.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so one thing that we faced with Cineville in the beginning was that people were complaining they couldn't make reservations. And they were saying like on other Cineville cinemas, when I go to see a film with Cineville, there's always the chance that I don't get a spot. So we don't have Ticketmatic, we are forced to use like something that was approved by the school. So I created this kind of backlog system in our ticketing software where people can create a reservation by entering the Cineville number. And it's actually mostly psychological, because we rarely have like a really sold out show where you have to prove that you reserved beforehand. But the psychological thing that you know you have a spot with Cineville, it made people come to our cinema so much that in the beginning our Cineville, I think that's also part of why our Cineville percentage is higher than some of the other cinemas in Brussels.
No, we don't allow reservations, for example. It's also not working on a ticketing system where like just show up and see if there's a space. That's what we're doing.
Can I have a question to all of you who have a possibility to a reservation a seat?
To reserve but not paid?
To reserve but not paid.
No. Why is it necessary?
Yeah, but it's necessary because it gives people the reassurance that they can come. And I do a bit of a gamble every time, because I allow for more reservations to be made than seats in the room. Because I hate when it happens that there are so many reservations that people cannot buy a ticket anymore, and then people don't show up, and you have to turn people away at the door, and then there's empty seats.
We can do it just with the loyalty card, like with our 5 or 10 abonnements. But the incentive for them to buy that instead of a normal ticket is that it's reduced, and also it's the only way they can cancel it.
Yeah.
Because if they buy a ticket, no refunds. If they have the reservation card, or the abonnement, they can cancel up to 6 hours before, and they actually use that.
Before screening.
Before, yeah. So then you have the people coming at the casa, you can still fit them in.
I made an analysis based on our data on how many people don't show up for their reservation. It was about 10 to 20%. So then I created a system where I can oversell my capacity by 10% as long as the 10% is reservations. And so far it's worked really well, but I do have to also admit that since we are a school cinema, we do have like one rickety like solution in case we do oversell, which is that we have yes, we can put extra chairs, but it's usually only acceptable to students, like because people over the age of 40 don't accept when you're like it's sold out, but we give you a little chair.
Yeah.
Like they don't accept this, but this week, oh sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna round up because we do need a break, I feel like, and we're gonna start the Zoom session on time, so...
On time means in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
On time, please.
Yeah, maybe say it loudly.
Yeah.
For us, but 3 years ago,
as an audience, yeah, it's how I time and like one day to actually over the